wonderful session. So those of you who can still join and stay for this session, it's I know some of you all have to go who are not seniors, but it's a very good, very informational session. We would like for you to join, but if you want to excuse yourself, that's okay too. But Dr. Arumugam Nathasan is going to talk about the well-being in general for seniors. If you have parents who are seniors above 55, also this would work for you. So we are going to go and take it up from here. So let me talk a little bit about Dr. Arumugam Nathasan. So the one thing that would surprise everybody is Dr. Nathasan is not very familiar with the Chinmaya mission and what was happening and our program, but he recently joined the study groups, and the moment I asked him, he said yes, even without even thinking how it's going to be or what it's going to be and all that. So I'm so thankful that he just trusted the organization and our group to just come on board and talk to us and share his expertise. So, and of course, all those who are like Suri spoke in Tamil, so I know there are a lot more people who understand. So you will be happy to know that he's back in India. He's back from India. He's in Chennai, and then he moved to Atlanta from Cleveland, Ohio. Practiced medicine for quite a number of years here in Northside Johns Creek and Emory. Now he's not practicing, but he is a professional consultant. So if we want any consultations, I'm sure he will oblige and take our calls as well, I hope. And he has two beautiful physician daughters living on the West Coast. He misses them because he can't see them right now across the country because of the pandemic. But he's here with us, and let's go to Dr. Nathasan and see what he has for us. Okay, no, sorry, I am going to stop share.
Okay. Am I on, Sujata?
Yeah, just give me one moment. Yes, you're on, and I'm going to share the screen as well. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Nathasan, and then I'll share the screen.
Thank you very much for that nice introduction. I used to say only my mom could be more nicer, but happy mothers to all the moms in the audience. And some of us who are older, I think we do miss our moms. They're no more. And I think I came here many, many years ago in the 70s. And part of the heartache was we could never spend time with them. And so it's always something that's missing. But anyway, it's like I guess wrong time to think about it. Makes me sad, but I guess that's part of life. And so anyway, today I'm going to kind of, even though it's meant for seniors, actually it's good for anybody, young or old, because if you start earlier, you get even better, you get even more benefits basically. But I just took some arbitrary age of 50, but it's just good for at any age. So basically today I'm a gastroenterologist by profession, but meaning internist to begin with, and pretty much deal with the whole body. So I'm just going to deal with general concepts of health. I don't want to go to any one particular disease in the sense, because this way it will benefit everybody. With that introduction, let me go with the first slide, which is actually WHO definition of health and wellness. A state of complete physical and mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease, which means that just not having any disease is not ideal. I mean, it's good, but it's not ideal. So what are the goals, what we normally would try? The goals are extending the lifespan as much as and enjoy as much as we can, and enjoyment at the highest attainable standard of living. That's basically what we are aiming for. Even though I don't know how many of us really spend time on it, but I think this, especially when you're reaching in these ages, it's very well worth our time to to look into it. Oh, by the way, Sujata, please interrupt me. It's when time to close because, like I said, I don't think I'm going to run over time, but just I don't know. I'm not paying attention. Okay, go to the next one, please. Okay, I want all of you to take a close look at that graph. This is the data from 2013, 2014, but it applies. Now, if you look on the line on the left side, it says gained life expectancy, and it's in years. So it starts at 50 here and all the way at the end of the graph. If you keep looking, it goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And how do you, what they study, and they studied thousands of doctors and nurses over a course of 30, 40 years, and then came to this statistical analysis. Of course, the left is female, right is on male, but the females always do a little bit better. There's no question about it. So basically, it's saying if you start all these 5 habits at age 50, you're going to gain 14 years of your expected life expectancy. If you didn't do anything, if you're 50 years old, you're starting all these good habits, you're going to gain 14 years on average. In an individual case, people can have accident, etc. But in an average, you will gain 14 years. And this is not just guesswork. This is hard statistics by studying thousands of people over 25, 30 years. Now, you can say, well, I am 70, what difference it makes? So on the bottom, it's giving you ages, 50, 55, 60, and so on. If you take, say, 70, even at this age, if you go all 5, each one is one habit. If you go all 5 habits, you almost gain 12 years on your life expectancy. So it's very well worth it. And it is not, it's not expensive, and it's not something you got to do. And fortunately, a lot of our Indian seniors, they already do it. It's not like, you had to do new habits. This only, now, I will tell briefly about these 5, but I'm going to go down further. When we go down further, we will discuss all of this. These 5 habits basically will involve diet, ideal weight, exercise, and now here, I'm sorry, yes, here it is. They basically, I said 5 on the graph, but I'm just adding 6. But if you look at it, it's diet and healthy body weight, which most of the, like I said, Indian seniors tend to do it. Exercise, I'm not so sure about that, but adequate sleep. So, and then I will go in detail in each one of them. Social connections, networking. Again, this is a special challenge for Indians, meaning we already left everything back. Spiritual connections, faith, religion. And number 6, avoiding health-destroying bad habits, such as smoking and excessive alcohol. Now, these are the habits that these apply to the graph we saw above. In that graph above, unfortunately, there is a habit that also is moderate alcohol consumption. But that is a 2013, 14. But from then to now, there are a lot of data out saying alcohol causes cancer in women, alcohol causes increased colon cancer. So that doesn't apply, but we switched it to something else. You go on to the next one. So next, like again, right? So again, I'm sorry, go back one time quickly, Sujata. Okay, again, I want you guys to look, just remember, diet, healthy body weight, exercise, sleep, social and spiritual connections, and don't smoke, and don't drink excessively. And that's the basic, and it's very simple. It's not really too much. Keep the next one, please. Okay, now I talked about ideal body weight. How do you know what's your ideal body weight? Now, as a physician, we roughly, a lot of times we'll estimate, at least in India, when I was in medical school, we used to say, if it's a female, 5 foot is 100 and you add 10 pounds. And if it's a female, 5'6", and it's 130, and but that's all too complicated. Look at this. It's the BMI is what we normally use. What does BMI stand for? Is basic metabolic index. Forget about how it's usually it's the weight divided by height in meters. But don't worry about it. If you take your iPhone and just put BMI there are 100 calculators out there. All it asks you is your weight and your height, and it will give you the BMI. So you yourself can do it like in a minute. And of course, if you look at it, ideally it's 18.5 to 24.9. And that is what you should aim for. If you go 25 to 30, you are on the overweight range, and 30 and above, you don't want to get there. It's obese. Fortunately, again, I don't see many seniors or many Indians, in fact, to be on the obese range, but overweight I do see. And also what they don't mention here is this combined with the waist measurement. If you have a big waist, anyway. So, we can, please everyone calculate your own BMI just for your own sake and just mark it down somewhere with the date. You can do it in the beginning of the year. So when next year, when you calculate, you'll know where you're going. And that's very, very important to keep it in terms of timeline, because it slowly changes. You won't notice it until you really look at the numbers. Now, for those who are struggling with the weight issue, I have another little tip, which I often recommend, is to have a scale in the bathroom and get on it every day. Now, it's for some people, it could be anxiety provoking, but get on it every day at the same time, be it first thing in the morning, whatever time you want to do at the same time. The reason being, if you start to gain weight, you will know the next day or the day after. A lot of times people will say, oh, I was doing fine, and 3 months later, I'm this way. Well, it didn't happen overnight. It happened gradually, and you didn't catch it because you didn't see it, because the mirror don't show you. And so if you catch it right on when you're noticing it, 1 pound, 2 pound, now something happens in your subconscious. You yourself will, next time when you see the chocolate cake, you're gonna kind of maybe take half of it instead of all of it. So that's your subconscious doing the work for you. If you didn't give the information to your subconscious, you won't notice it. You'll just eat the chocolate cake like always, up until 3 months later, you notice, oh, I gained 5 pounds, 10 pounds. Anyway, so that's just a tip. Okay, so basically BMI, you can calculate and keep it. Next one, Sujata. Okay, now let me come to exercise. I'm gonna just give a summary, and the latest recommendation, we've been there for a while, is at least 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity, such as brisk walking, because most of us can do that. At least in Atlanta, we are fortunate. Weather is usually, at least most of the year. Or we can do a treadmill at home, and most of us, I think, can afford it. Or for my real economically downtrodden patient, I used to tell them, go to the shopping mall. Maybe now not, but and then the big malls you can walk. And if you see 150 minutes, it's if you do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, will make you one. It doesn't mean that's all you have to do, but that's what I'm saying, the minimum requirement. You can meet it very easily, 150 minutes a week. And then at least 2 days a week of activities that strengthen the muscles. Now, here again, you don't have to go to the gym and pump weights. You can get a 2 pound, 5 pound, barbells at home. You go through Amazon, and then you can do it twice a week. Or you can have bands to stretch, because again, most of us, we say, oh, we walk and we don't pay attention to the muscles, because those muscles, they start losing fibers starting from the age, I think, around 40, 45. Every year, every day, there is a little bit of loss. So you really have to strengthen what is left. And that will really protect you in many ways, because if you have a muscle that will burn calories, it's also a way of losing weight, not just walking alone. So and then if I calculated 5 days a week walk, 2 days lift a little weights, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Start with the 2 pounds in each hand, a dumbbell, and then you can look up those exercises. And then the third one, activities to improve the balance, such as standing on one foot. I know there's a tree pose in yoga. I don't know the name, the name for it. Sujata, would you know what that's called? Anybody know? But
Last week we had that. She said, oh my God.
Yeah, it's called Vrikshasana, the tree pose.
okay, that's it. I mean, you can try that. You can do it as much as possible, because this is especially important for seniors. This is, even if you're 50 under, maybe not, but as you get older, balance becomes very, very, very important. And that's where we have so many hip fractures, skull injuries, all because the people have poor balance. They think they are 50 or they think they are 30 and get up and fall down. And so this I would recommend, just do it anytime you feel like, and keep doing it, and slowly it'll improve. And then finally, aim for the recommended levels. However, be active throughout the day. If you're going to have, weight issues, that'll really help to spend calories all day long. Okay, we can go to the next one, Sujata. This is the exercise. Okay, remember we covered BMI, we covered exercise, and now this is another good ingredient for good health is sleep. And this is very simple, 7 to 8 hours a night, good quality and uninterrupted. Most of us should be able to do it unless you have very small children, then you'll be young. Consider daytime nap for no more than 20 minutes. If you have, if you watch TV till late in the night or sleepy in the daytime, you can take, or maybe you cannot get uninterrupted sleep, a nap of no more than 20 minutes. Sometimes I heard people have lunch and just lie down and go to sleep a couple hours or an hour. A siesta is fine, but if you do more than 20 minutes, it's going to make you sluggish and make you possibly gain weight. Now, then finally, again, if excessively sleeping in the daytime, check for sleep apnea, which is probably a common one. If you have a short neck, you don't have to be heavy or obese to have sleep apnea. If you're just sleepy all day long, you should check it. And it's easy nowadays. Most of the doctors should be able to send you somewhere. Next one, Sujata. Now, this is very briefly, social connections and network, and spiritual connections and faith. Now, this has been well proven, the social connections and network reduces stress and many health problems associated with the stress, heart attacks, blood pressure. And in India, that's probably why we see much less mental health problems, because even the poor, or even if you're suffering, there's always social connections, like old, young. So it diffuses out your stress. And it's definitely hard. So that's more important. We need to associate with friends, and family, of course, is missing here, but we got to consider friends as family. And also spiritual connections, faith, not necessarily Hindu or anything, but it's been well proven again. Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, if you believe and if you really trust, then your hypertension and heart disease goes down. I think that's because you're taking, we don't know exactly how it works, but definitely faith will help. And these are all ancillary things to what we talked about physically. Next one, Sujata. So finally, I'm coming to diet, even though that was on the top of our list. The reason is I wanted to spend a little bit more time. Like I said, again, didn't calculate the time and didn't want to underdo. But as no surprise to you, most of the major diseases affecting us, this generation, this civilization, is diseases caused mainly by food. Heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, and we all know someone who had it. It's not like diabetes is like running as a pandemic in India, and obesity and related diseases. Obesity, by the way, leads to diabetes, and diabetes leads to obesity and cancer. And we didn't realize that cancer leads to, diet leads to cancer very clearly. So because you eat, and the Western diet definitely leads to colon cancer. That's why in India you hardly see them, but here you see so many. But India too, we're starting to see that, because now we are adopting whole sugar, we are having high food, high fat, and we are now having motorbikes and cars. So we don't walk no more. And so definitely, so we definitely pays attention to pay attention to our diet. And I think what it is, diet is a major commercial enterprise. So there are multiple variety of diets commercially advertised and marketed, both here and no less in India. If you go there, you will find so many fancy diets, and and they are usually a waste of money and not useful for a long term. People don't understand it. Is the body has its own score. We can't trick it. So the usual concept is, okay, you be on my diet 3 months or 6 months or 3 months, and then you lose this weight, then you maintain it. Then you go on your, in reality, that never happens. You go on the diet, you lose the 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and then 3 months later, you stop it, and lo and behold, it comes right back up. So, and what happens is next time it's even harder to lose. So commercial diets are, unless it's some sort of a natural diet that you eat less, change your habits, not commercial diets. So please don't waste your money on getting any kind of fancy. I can't even think of the number of diets that are available there. So anyway, so that's so this is so important, and that's why I put it at the end. I want to spend a little bit more time on it. The next one, Sujata. Okay, so I said, how do you navigate this maze? And it is a maze. The current knowledge is confusing and incomplete. So there are hundreds of books written on it, articles, arguments. All that is because there's a lot of money involved. There's a big meat industry in this country. There's a big dairy industry in this country. And there is also the big, grain industry. So all these people, they push their side. Why, beef is good. Why, cheese is good. Each industry gets pushed. Even, take for example, blueberry. Blueberry is a good food. There's a lot of antioxidants, but the blueberry industry pushes blueberry. Even though it's good, they push a little bit more. So that is why there's just it's like a cacophony. It's just like so much. So I'm going to summarize what all I gathered out of all this maze of knowledge. At the moment, the most scientifically seem to be some sort of an agreement. Even the doctors fight over it, dietitians fight over it. But my own take is the plant-based whole foods seem to be the consensus among the majority of the food scientists. So again, for a lot of Indians, it should be easy. Plant-based whole foods. All it means is basically a vegetarian diet, but also there may be a little bit of non-vegetarian, if at all. And basically, that's it. And no processed foods. When you say plant-based whole food, chips don't come in part of it, even though it's vegetarian. There are so many vegetarian stuff if you go to the Indian store, but they're all processed. They're talking about whole or plant-based. You make it, are very minimally processed. Now, next, like vegetarian diet is generally felt to be better. Vegetarians do live longer. They seem to have less disease. certainly the emphasis on reduced animal products everywhere. So I think I will leave it at that general outline. Very difficult to do, if you try to calorie count and then do this and do that and follow. No, I think people, what we are eating at home, just use the following ingredients. I'm going down here. Overview of the food. One, whole grains, wheat, rice, quinoa. I mean, there are so many grains. Nowadays there are like millets, but use the whole grains. And even if you have to use a flour, use a whole grain. Number two is vegetables. You can have non-starchy and leafy green vegetables. It also can add what they call tubers, like I'm just blocking out, but any kind of a starchy, like a potatoes or sweet potatoes, those they're okay too, nothing wrong. So vegetables, except don't process them, cook them whole. Cook them, and then fruits, again, basically you can eat as much as you want. I will watch out for high sugar foods like dates or mangoes or something. And then dairy is a question, I put a question mark because it's 50-50. A lot of Indians are lactose intolerant. It gives them gas, it gives them discomfort, and some of them not. So I would say use reasonable amounts. Don't go overboard with the dairy. And then if non-vegetarian, limited quantities of eggs, fish and chicken, limited quantities, maybe twice a week is all I would recommend with this plant-based whole foods. So if you watch this out, and then finally sugar and salt, 90% out, sugar completely out, salt maybe 90% out, because salt is one of the major culprits for high blood pressure. And senior citizens, almost all of us have some sort of blood pressure. And then soft drinks, believe it or not, is as bad as smoking. And, so Coke, Pepsi, it causes so many problems, but they push so hard to market those as healthy and, including no sugar, artificial sweeteners. They're also not any good, because even if you take stevia, an artificial sweetener, and put it in your mouth, you feel the sweet taste, and your body automatically kicks in insulin. And the insulin automatically makes you more hungry. And so that's how artificial sweeteners, even though they themselves are not a direct calorie, they make your body get insulin and then get hungry. So, and if you watch that, so sugar, excessive salt, soft drinks, and processed foods, you need to be just aware of them. And if you're aware of them, you can control it. I'm not saying you could be like 100%, but the majority you should avoid, which, I personally do, most of the time. So, especially with our Indians' history of sugar and heart problems, definitely, history of diabetes and heart problems, I would definitely limit those very severely. So when you go visit somebody, don't take sweets. If someone comes to visit you, don't supply them sweets, because it's not good. So if you really are their friend, if you really want their health, don't put out a plate full of sweets and say, please have some. Maybe put some, like, I don't know, some salads or cut out something that's not sugar, that's no chips, and not soft drinks. Please don't ask them for Coke or Pepsi. At the most maybe water, or like some juice. Even juice actually is not all that great. The fruit itself is much better, because juice again has a lot of sugar, whereas anyway. So that's. But it doesn't happen even in my house sometimes. But I'm just saying, in general, to try and not, sometimes the kids will come, you can't really avoid.
Yeah,
But by and large, our people will go someplace, they get a tray of laddus. And that's
I
fine.
know it's so Indian, Dr. Nathan. How come? Like if you go to Indian house, we need a sweet and like a hot.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is just no social, it used to be okay
Yes.
50 years ago when people were walking and people were skinny and they're doing a lot more. So they may eat the sweet and walk out, but now you eat the sweet and get up, get in your car and drive home into your into your garage. You don't even walk from driveway to home, it's just from garage to inside. So that is the problem. So definitely, please don't offer them sweet. And I don't, anyway, next one, Sujata.
Go to the next
So,
one.
now, so again, to summarize, there are some new concepts which not commonly known, but they are not so new either, but they're just new to awareness. Number one, we are eating the same foods our grandparents ate, but they are not the same, actually, because when I grew up in the farm, or probably when you guys, previous generations, all the food was, the oil was taken by the old-fashioned, from, I don't know, they used to call chekku in Tamil, where you just manually extract it. The
Yes.
rice was manually pounded and made in, taken care of. And most of them were natural, fresh ingredients. Even when I went to college, we already introduced in our
Dr. Nathan,
medicine is.
we just
yes.
lost you actually. Sure.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. We are.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
We are eating the same foods our grandparents ate, but it's not the same. And can you hear me now, though?
Yes. Yes. We can go to the next.
Okay. So basically, because there's a lot more things to kill bugs and things to clean and things to make it look good. You take an apple, they coat it with wax to make it look good. So many chemicals are being introduced. India too, just don't think it's just here, in India too. So that is the thing. So we are eating the same foods, but it's not as healthy. Our grandparents ate the same thing. They are much healthier simply because they're all natural and they didn't have anything added on. Now, that's one concept. So as much as possible organic, if you can, or anyway, that's number one. Number two, there's for those who are really having a hard time losing weight and maintaining, controlling sugar, this fasting and intermittent fasting is it's not a new, or I was going to mention it when I talked about religion and faith. It's like twice a month, and so many things we fast. My mom used to fast every Saturday before.
That's true. That is true. They used to have all the puja days, Saturdays, Sunday, Friday, some days they do the fasting. They did. Dr. Nathan, do you want me to stop sharing and you can speak? We have that disturbance of the wall. We're not able to. I think I'm going to stop this.
And it's like means.
Dr. Nathan, we can't see you. Did you get dropped off? No, we can't see the doctor though, right? Can you?
Can you hear me?
Oh, now we can hear you. We couldn't even see you actually. It's like, okay, you just dropped off or what happened? I was thinking. I think I stopped sharing the screen, the slides. So we'll hear you because we come to the end almost like a minute or two, right? So I'm ready for the discussion, like questions part.
Okay. All right. Just let me just show one other slide, Sujata, the last one with all the.
Okay. Just give me one moment. Yeah, let me. There. Yeah.
Okay, go to the next one. Right. Now this one, you can maybe get a screenshot and give it to people, because it's basically that's the conclusion of my talk. Is all of us, it's our responsibility to know these numbers and to track them on a on a yearly basis. Very briefly, blood pressure, weight, hemoglobin A1c, which will test for your diabetes. Hemoglobin is checking for anemia. And a lot of us are vitamin D or B12 deficient because of the vegetarian diet. Thyroid hormone level. And these numbers, you can ask your primary, primary physicians used to do it on a regular basis. But nowadays they're just flooded. So they may not follow it as carefully. They will, but you can ask them these numbers. And then checkups, eye check, dental, colonoscopy, mammogram, pap smear, adult immunization. The adult immunization is for pneumonia and shingles. This is very, very important for anybody over 60, because pneumonia could be deadly if you, but a very simple vaccine is there. You have to take 2 shots. And then shingles is also same thing. So if you take a screenshot and keep these numbers, ask your primary care, and please follow it up.
I'll put it in the WhatsApp group, Dr. Nathesan, actually. Yeah, this is something we can keep in front of us and make sure we follow that, I think, actually.
Right, yes. Okay.
So we're going to open the session. We have a couple of questions in the chat. Kalyani, do you want to go ahead and go ahead and put this in? Yeah, she said shingles are about 50 or 60. Yeah, I heard shingles is one of the major problems for Indian community. Is that correct, Dr. Nathesan? And when should they take the vaccine?
Well, I think, it's because Indians may be more aware of other Indians, but we see it in everybody.
Okay.
And I think 60, I believe, is the official recommendation. But if you're 50, I think you can take it. There's no contraindication to take it when you're young. It may cost you a few bucks. I don't know exactly how much, maybe $100, $200. I don't know exactly the cost. It's well worth the money. I mean, if you go eat in a good restaurant, 3-4 friends, it's going to cost you the same.
I know we don't want to go there. I know we don't want to spend 50 bucks, but definitely we spend for eating and all. Actually.
Right. So I think that, yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, I think it's 60, but if you're 50, you can take it. I mean, really, it's not going to do it.
There's one.
Just take a couple of days of soreness. That's it.
Sorry. So there is one more question. Said any suggestions, or I think dietary suggestions for managing IBS?
Okay. IBS is a major problem, meaning it's very common. Almost 50 to 60% of the patients that used to come to my office, have some form of it or other, and there are various varieties. Constipation dominated, diarrhea dominated, indigestion. There are multiple varieties. Mm-hmm. But the 2 things. One, not all of it may just be from the diet. It may be, up here, meaning, the stress of and that's a very common variety. Yeah, many of us could remember before the exam, we need to go to the bathroom, or somebody throws up, all that will happen. But so you have to try and diagnose it to see whether it's really the diet or it's really the lifestyle. And some people, it's a very sensitive system. So any upset outside is going to make you go or make you constipated. So I'll make a very careful evaluation as to the associations. Number 2, like I mentioned before, lactose intolerance is probably number 1 reason why people are misdiagnosed with IBS, meaning because, there's milk in everywhere. Not that you drink milk. You have a cookie and there's, milk product in there, and it gives you gas and bloating, and then you don't know what's going on. So you say, I didn't eat anything. Why is this happening? So a lot of products, processed products, have milk products. So you have to check and see whether you are lactose intolerant. You can simply do like a diagnostic, drink a glass of milk and see what happens. So, and if you do have it, then there are ways of handling it, such as lactose powder can be added, or you can have avoid, like you can get lactose-free milk. So basically, you have to make sure it's not lactose intolerant, and then there are some other, like a gluten sensitivity is there, which is the wheat products, which again we don't know because we avoid wheat, but then we eat some Indian, spice or sweet or something that has wheat products in it, then it's going to affect you, and that could be pretty. So wheat sensitivity, milk sensitivity are all hidden reasons why people think they have IBS. And then finally, if it's all diet induced, all it says is the system is very sensitive to any kind of insult. So, some people, if they get upset, the face become red. You can notice that. But for some people, it's the GI. Some people, the blood pressure will go up. And you don't see it, but the blood pressure is up. But some people, it's the GI system where they have bowel changes. So if it's
what about Indian yogurt? Indian yogurt for IBS or gut, like if it is too sensitive?
I think it from on a theoretical base, I don't know, but on a practical base, I have seen it seems to be okay. So you basically what it is, if you know that for sure, you can just try it. A lot of times there may be individual variations. So I will definitely try and not eliminate every food, but so basically if you had to rule out lactose intolerance, meaning milk products, and you had to rule out gluten, wheat and wheat products. After these two are done, then you do have a sensitive system, then you can have 10 different elimination diets. You had to work with somebody to try and
get that out.
but because there is a misunderstanding to think it's all diet.
Right, that's what actually.
So,
yeah, and especially we Indians, we have that, like if you eat yogurt, even I say that to my kids, if you eat yogurt, it'll fix everything with all the stomach problems.
Right.
So we have two more questions, Dr. Nityasan. It says, like, because we were talking about shingles. So I was asking if someone has shingles already, do they still take the vaccine?
If they had shingle already, not chicken pox, but shingles itself. I think, now I have to defer to that because I think yes, but don't hold me to it. You need to, because that's a very interesting question that hasn't, crossed my knowledge base. But I have a feeling, I memory wise, I think you do. Even if you had shingles, it's still worth it to take it, I think.
Look it up.
So I will, I will check on and let you know.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you can let us know. I can put questions again in the chat, actually, group, WhatsApp group, and then we can get. There's one more question. Suma was asking, do we need to check ferritin serum even if hemoglobin is 13?
No, hemoglobin is normal. You don't have to. I don't know why, but did I put in ferritin somewhere? So yeah, I may have. I mean, sometimes you do check it, but that's for different diagnosis. There are
specific, like if you're going for something very specific, I guess.
Very specific. Yeah. If I put in ferritin, you can. If you have hemoglobin is normal, by and large, you're okay.
Right.
As far as anemia goes.
Suma, is there a specific reason you're asking that, or or general? Because if you're trying to diagnose some kind of area, I'm thinking you'll have more details regarding that. I'm not sure.
But I don't think I asked that question. Can you check who it was?
Okay, whoever it's a Suma Kumar.
Oh, really?
No, hold on. No, Kavita Chaudhary. Sorry, that's Kavita. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, even though hemoglobin is okay, it's 13, but doctor said something like ferritin serum, you have to check, and that is better representation of if you have anemia or not. So just wanted to know that.
13 grams for that? I mean,
hemoglobin is 13, but ferritin serum is 15 or 16.
I don't know the normal range in that lab for ferritin. And was it in normal range or was it low?
It was low. It was supposed to be 20 and more.
And then it was 15.
Hemoglobin was 13.1 and ferritin was 15. Yes.
Well, then it probably has to. I usually I don't even ask for ferritin unless there is some specific reason.
That's what I am thinking. If there is a particular reason, like if there is like hemoglobin is okay, but she's still feeling weak or something or some condition.
Because you're not really, you don't really ask for ferritin to look for anemia. I mean, you're looking for asking for ferritin for other reasons.
Yeah.
There are things called hemochromatosis and all the other issues where, the iron gets accumulating, and that's a different story. But I don't know. There are other there is a number that shows how big is that red cell. They call it MCV, or mean corpuscular volume. All those, you have to look at the whole picture. Usually the blood picture is not a simple, just a number. It's just a screening. The hemoglobin is just a screening. There's also, the volume and the percentage and the whole bit of stuff. So I think I don't have a good explanation why the ferritin is low and hemoglobin is low.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, because I feel fine. I don't have any symptoms. I used to be anemic. So maybe for that reason, doctor checked.
If that is the case, then the ferritin may catch up later.
Okay.
If in fact you are anemic and they started you on iron, is it?
It happened maybe 10 years ago when the iron was like very low. It was 6 or 7.
I see.
So, but then I have recovered, but still doctor checks for those numbers. And then she said this time it's low.
I have no good explanation why he checked.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe a general question, but there is one question in the chat. I don't know if Dr. Nathisan, you want to answer or somebody else. It's
okay. I don't. Just go ahead. Then.
Oh, I thought, is it possible to make yogurt with lactose-free milk? But Bhavna says it is possible to make yogurt with lactose.
Yes, I make it too. I make it myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I have friends who do that.
All right. So that's good. That solves a lot of our lactose intolerance problems for IBS, I think, then.
That's not exactly a medical question, but there is already answer.
I didn't know who was going to answer that. I thought so, but she answered it because she knows it.
No, I have lactose intolerance, and I make with lactose-free milk, and also I make sure the starters have a live culture, and then I keep that. And that helps me with lactose intolerance.
And Dr. Nathisan, that is our certified dietitian speaking actually now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you can't refute that too.
No. I think, like I said, lactose-free yogurt is. I don't know if they sell them in the store, but maybe not a bad idea to sell it in the stores.
Yeah, and Bhavna is somebody who has used it and done that actually. So all these are first-hand like experiences too.
I do it too, Sujata.
You do too. Oh my God, what is going on? Everyone here knows what's good health. So Dr. Nathisan, do you see how nice, like healthy and well-being group we are here, except me, I guess.
Yeah.
I had a question, Doctor. This is Siva. The 150 minutes per week exercise for Vanaprasthas, is it any particular type of exercises advised, one versus the other?
Well, I think the easiest is walking, brisk walking. Now, if you are in the younger age group, maybe you can use a stepper. When the COVID was really tight and everybody was like last year confined home camp, it's cold outside. I just used to climb up the steps in our house and just up and down, slowly 20 minutes and 30 minutes, and it increased your heart rate, you're done. So for a change, but cycling maybe or swimming, if you can do it. I think, these are all, swimming is a non-weight bearing exercise, not going to knock on your knees or the ankles. That's swimming and, cycling and, if you go to the gym, there are other things. So I forgot the equipment where you,
Elliptical.
right, elliptical. That's right, elliptical, right. So there are many, but usually the easiest I believe is brisk walking. And if you have a swimming pool, swim, or you go to a public swimming pool and swim in the summertime.
And one more question with respect again, Vanaprasthas. The BMI, is it some other range is acceptable for Vanaprasthis, or the same range is applicable across?
It's kind of not a very fine measurement. We use it as just a general idea, but I don't see why we senior citizens should be given more leeway to carry more weight, because basically what you're doing is you're loading what we don't see is the load you put on your knees, and the load you put on your ankles, and the load you put on your hips. And you don't normally notice it, but you work on it every day. And the commonest thing I see is like what they call osteoarthritis in the knees, in the ankles. So maybe it won't show up as a heart disease or high blood pressure or diabetes, which is what. So, and it's also been proven in like 1,000 studies that the less calories are better. They simply took rats and made them 50% of their weight. Just, for other group of rats, they gave everything they want to eat. They become heavy. And the skinnier rats lasted some 20-30% longer, more healthier. So I think like all our fasting we did in the religion is now, it has some real good health benefits. So I wouldn't change the numbers for senior citizens, including myself.
Yeah. As we age, we should cut back 10% of our total calories after 50. So if we were eating 1,000 calories per day, we cut back 100 calories per day. Just a rule of thumb.
Wow.
Okay.
There you go. And I think you can use your BMI as kind of a scale, a guide.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like I said, what I found is, people have a hard time counting calories and exactly calculating. And so they just do. So, but if you starting to gain weight, like I said, get on the scale every day. If you start going up, then you're making some calories. And also, by the way, people gain weight different ways, meaning they're just coming out with research that's showing some people gain weight because they stay hungry all the time. And so, and because the stomach is not telling them they're full. And some people are gaining weight because they're emotionally eating. And so there are different ways why people gain weight, but ultimately, they're ultimately going to show up on your scale. So that's going to be your final check.
And your waist for women.
And your waist, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Intes. We would love for you to come back and share some information for us. And if we have any questions, we'll put in the chat. If you can take some time to answer them, that'd be wonderful too, actually. That would be so great.
Yeah, my last slide, if you can just, if they can, take a picture of the screen.
I'm going to send it. I'm going to put it in the WhatsApp. I took a screenshot. I have the slide. Right? I'm going to put a picture of it in the WhatsApp group so that would be a guideline for all of us to follow.
And make a point you insist on with your doctors to get those numbers, because most of us are intelligent enough or educated enough to be able to, and don't depend on the primary cares to keep those numbers in track. Because they have 1,000 patients and it's hard for them, and it's so it's our responsibility like anything else. And I think now we have more time. Right. We can't have excuses.
That is true.
Thank you, doctor. It has been very, very useful. Yes. And especially about the sweet, what you were mentioning, as a saying, a moment on the lip, forever on the hip. So,
right.
So be careful.
Oh my God, Shivaji, don't go there for sweets. It's hard. It is hard. Nalini Auntie, we didn't get to hear your voice today. So can you do the ending prayer That'll be wonderful. No? Okay, I'll do that. I'll write that. Okay. All right, we are going to end the session for today. If anyone's interested, you can just stay back. If you have any questions or concerns, we'll talk and then leave. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukinaha Sarve Santu Niramayam Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank
Everybody
you.
enjoy your rest of the day. Thank you so much, Dr. Natis, and you should
Thank
come.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay. Nalini auntie, what's going on? Are you okay? Oh, she just left. I'm not sure if she's okay or not. Usually she.
I think she had a bad throat or something.